Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Money Codes. My name is Joel and I'm here to give you your daily money code fix. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about how to get high credit card limits, why you should aspire to get some if you don't have any, and the strategic way on how you can get high credit card limits in the most efficient way possible. So stay tuned and we'll jump right in. So high credit card limits. Why do you want this? Why am I making a video on how to get high credit card limits on your credit cards? Well, the first benefit and the first reason why you would want to have a high credit card limit is it will lower your overall utilization across your credit profile. Meaning, if you are someone that has close to maxed out some of their other credit cards, you likely have a high utilization. That's going to plummet your credit score. So utilization is literally the second most important variable that makes up your credit score. So if you add in a high credit card limit onto your credit profile, you're actually going to be lessening that blow. You're going to be decreasing your overall utilization. So what does that look like in a very quick example? If you have a $1,000 credit card right now, meaning that the most that you can spend on this credit card is $1,000. And you go to dinner and you spend $300, for example. So just like that, immediately your utilization is 30%. That's not the worst, but you're not really maximizing the benefits of keeping a low utilization. Now let's say you have a $10,000 Chase Preferred card, for example, and you go to the same restaurant and you spend $300 for dinner. Now, instead of having a 30% utilization, you only have a 3% utilization, which is literally like a drop in the bucket. That's not going to negatively impact you at all. That sweet spot is in between 1 and 9%. So you can see having a high credit card limit, doing day-to-day purchases will keep you in that sweet spot where you want to be in. Now, what would be another big reason of wanting a high credit card limit? Now, this is my personal number one thing for having a high credit card limit, and that would be leveraging my credit cards in order to make money. So normally when people talk about credit cards, they're talking about getting into debt, buying things that they don't need. But if you are savvy and if you're somebody that is mature, you can actually take your credit cards right now and leverage it to be able to do some real estate investing. So a very basic example, because I want to keep this video very simple. If you're looking to do some sort of real estate investing or to get into real estate investing, one of the things that I recommend people look at is getting into wholesaling first. Now with wholesaling, you're basically just being the middleman. So let's say you find a motivated seller in your neighborhood. They are needing to get rid of this property very quickly. Let's say I still have that same $10,000 credit card that I had before. I can go and take $500, $1,000, maybe $2,000 off of my high credit limit credit card and use it as earnest money to secure that investment property. So now with that little bit of $2,000 that I used, now because I used that $2,000 off of my credit card, I now have the option to go through with this purchase of this investment property. But again, we're wholesaling now. I don't need to use the whole amount to buy the home. Let's say I have another investor that wants to buy this house that I have an option for, but he really wants it. He wants to do renovations. What I can do is I can take the option that I have on this property and I can sell it to him for $5,000, $10,000. So essentially what I did is I took the $2,000 off of my high credit card limit. So if I take that $2,000 off of the $10,000, I'm still at 20% utilization. That's still in an okay range to have. I have no problem with that. I take that $2,000, I lock down a property, and then I sell that contract to another investor for $10,000. So $10,000 that I received minus the $2,000 that I put up, I just made $8,000. This is called leverage, and there's dozens of different ways to utilize high credit card limits in order to do examples that I just laid out. But again, if you only have a $1,000 credit card, a $500 credit card, it's a little bit tougher to do this. So that's something to keep in mind. You want your money to be working for you. And by the way, make sure to like and subscribe because I will be doing future videos going more in depth on scenarios where I just described right here, leveraging out the credit cards that you already have in order to make it make money for you. All right, so those are the reasons why you should be looking to get high credit card limits. Who shouldn't be looking to get high credit card limits? People that want to just finesse the system, go out, get a $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 credit card, max out the card, not repaying it back, putting yourself more into debt, destroying your credit profile. If you're somebody like that, just click out the video. I'm specifically talking to those that understand and want to use their credit in a positive manner. All right, so now let's begin with the concept of how to get high credit card limits. So the first thing I want you to pay attention to and to keep in mind is a term called credit card mirroring. Now, this is a concept that is pretty popular in our industry, and all that really means is banks like to see that other banks have lent you money before or have given you credit card products before. Credit card companies don't really want to be the first person to give you that $10,000, $20,000 credit card limit because you're not really tested. How can they trust you? Another way to think about this is notice the time when you were single and the attention that you would get from the opposite sex, so to speak. And then notice when you first get into a relationship. Have you ever noticed that you tend to get more looks when you're off the market than when you're single? It's a weird analogy, but it kind of does work with credit cards. If you're able to demonstrate to one credit card company that, hey, I'm a responsible borrower and they give me $15,000, $20,000 credit card limit. Once I have that on my credit profile, it is way easier for me to go to Chase, to Amex, to Bank of America. It's way easier for the other companies to give me high credit card limits because they already seen that somebody else has trusted me with that same product. Again, that's called credit card mirroring. So now how can we be strategic with this? So if you've noticed, I have several videos on my YouTube channel about Navy Federal Credit Union. I think they are a wonderful financial institution. In my opinion, the best credit union on the planet. And the reason why I tout them so much is that they do provide you high credit card limit. They are way more generous than your traditional banks. So I'm going to link a video up here of what I did, which was a deep dive on Navy Federal. Go check that out. Try to find a way inside of this financial institution. But I would recommend, if you don't have any credit cards, or let's say maybe you only have one secured card, I would highly recommend that you look at Navy Federal and get one of their credit card products. Get maybe only one or two and then nurture that relationship. What you're going to see within a matter of months, when you develop and you nurture that relationship, you're going to see that they're likely going to be giving you a credit card limit over $10,000. There are people in the comments of my other videos that have stated they've received $20,000, $25,000 and above with Navy Federal. So once you have that $20,000, $25,000 credit card limit on your credit profile, what I would recommend that you do is look at Chase. Chase is probably the best financial institution when it comes to giving out high credit card limits. But the only knock on them, the only drawback is that they actually have something called a 524 rule, which means they're not going to give you any credit card products on the personal side if you open up more than 5 credit cards with other companies within a 24-month period. They do that because they want to limit the amount of credit card churners, or the people that go ahead and they open up a card, they do a lot of manufacturer spend, they collect all of these points, and then they cancel the card and they move on to another company. So they implemented this rule, the 524 rule, to minimize those kind of people. They only want to give credit cards to people that are serious. So again, what is the strategy? Let's say you only have one secured card right now that you have. Get inside of Navy Federal and open up maybe 1 or 2 of their cards. If you don't know which cards to apply for, check out my YouTube channel. There are tons of content that I go over and I review. Once you've built up that credit history, go to Chase and get one of their cards. That way you're not locked out of the 524 rule, and then you can continue to do the same thing with them, nurture that relationship, because they have credit cards, for example, like the Chase Sapphire Reserve, which the minimum credit card limit that they'll provide you is $10,000. And again, the minimum. And most people that I talk to have $15,000 and above. And then the third company that I will tell you to look at after you've already looked at Navy Federal and after you already looked at Chase is American Express. American Express, they are very generous as well when it comes to credit card limit increases. I won't go super in detail, but it is very common for them to be able to triple your current credit line with them upon request. All right, so Navy Federal, Chase, and Amex. That will be the order that I will tell you to go ahead and attack. Now, regardless of if you have any of these companies, let's say you have a Discover card instead, what I want you to do is every 6 months, I want you to go ahead and request a credit limit increase. Now, every financial institution is a little bit different from the next. Some are a little bit more conservative and stingy with their credit limits, and some are a little bit more generous. So you're likely not going to get like the super max credit card limits from Discover, but they are generous when giving credit card limits, and they do it pretty frequently. So that's another reason why I recommend them when starting your credit card journey. So I do like Discover. Capital One, for example, sometimes they can be a bit stingy with the frequency as well as the credit card limits on some of their products. I'm not a huge fan of Capital One. Your experience may be a bit different. So when you think about this is not really going to be an overnight thing. This is something that's going to take time to nurture the relationships that you've established with these companies. But when you do it over time, when you do it in the right way, you can expect to easily see 15, 20,000 and above across multiple different companies. And that's another thing too. You never want to just have all of your eggs in one basket. It's good to have different relationships with different banks, because I have seen people have their Bank of America credit card shut down because of lack of use, and then they're having to start from scratch basically with another bank. Don't do that. Have 1 or 2 cards from Navy Federal, have 1 or 2 cards from Chase. That should be more than enough for the average person. If you're looking for more, check out American Express. And finally, the last tip is to actually look at getting business credit cards. I recorded a video where I will link up here, and I go over how to create your LLC, how to get an EIN number, how to establish a business bank account. The natural step will be to go ahead and try to get a business credit card as well, for the same reasons as I demonstrated on the personal side. But the added perks and the benefits of business credit is that, number one, if you select the right credit cards, it's not going to report on your personal credit. Meaning, if you decide to go ahead and do some real estate investing, or if you want to purchase any investments using your business credit cards, that utilization won't weigh down your personal credit, and it won't hurt your personal credit score. This is why I always say you always want to separate your personal credit and your business credit profile. Keep them separate at all times. And the second benefit is you're likely to see even higher credit card limits when you're actually getting these credit cards through your business. All right, so that is the end of the video. I hope you got a couple of nuggets in there. Again, hope you enjoyed. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.